I try to later to get my life back, I'm trying with every passenger to get it back, I still feel the good I still feel it, but it doesn't come out in my voice like it used to. With all the things going on in my mouth, you just don't have that mechanism that anymore. Guys, first of all, I want to say thank you for those of you who have been getting charts, and thank you for your patience. A few appointments I had to cancel on you because of dealing with the retrograde and dealing with the Saturn return that I'm going through and managing situations and then doing my shamanistic work. Sometimes they coincide and sometimes they collide. And I'm going to make a transit as well. So these are things that go on and can be sidetracked influences. The good thing is I'm very aware of them, and the best thing you can do is manage them as best as you can. Because one thing you can do is control the flow of flux and changes that occur, but you can control how you react to them, and also try to manage them as best as possible. So there's less collateral damage. So thank you, and for those who have prior appointments, we're going to begin again. Do makeup this whole week. I'm only behind a week. Many of my subscribers have a whole year to do from the prior contract terms of service for birth charts. We've changed it since then. Um, so they are still people that I'm shuffling, but they have a whole year, so that's okay. And that's some of the reasons why we have the services up to a year. I mean, we had it, we changed it, and then to make room for those things. One thing that I probably didn't mention on the video about birth charts is that it is divine timing. I could set a day, you could set a day, pay gung ho, and it doesn't happen. And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Maybe not that day, maybe another day. Sometimes it's divine intervention that gets in. And I forget. I do forget. Like as an astrologer, I don't work on my own. I am a third party person. I am an ambassador, a spokesperson for the gods. Astrologers also are spokespeople for the gods. They're the ones that create the chart, you know, and we have to disseminate the information. And we forget sometimes that role. And when I call a day or call a time, I'm set. And maybe things go wrong because I didn't put into consideration the Elohim. And so that becomes a humbling lesson for me. It's happened to me before. You forget. You forget. But we have to let you know that we don't make the final call. The universe makes the final call. This is an antithetical business. It's spiritual. Um, what else? Well, aside from that, the root canals are on schedule for the 24th of October here in New York. I'm back in New York, you know, and I'm gonna stay here for the remainder of the year to finish all of my surgeries, and I'll fly periodically back to Texas and focus on revamping the company, the business, with all of the setbacks and all of the obstacles and oppositions that have come to me and the company. We learned from that, and now we're gonna take that and reinvent and transform it. That's the Pluto energy transformation, going through a Saturn transit or a Saturn return, which forces us to reevaluate things and redo them or improve upon them, and then discard those that are no longer needed. And then also close loose ends. So that's part of what I've been doing. Uh, you know, Tying up loose ends, staying healthy, staying focused, and running the school, and as best as I can, finding time to talk to you and give you what you've all grown to love me for is specific and exclusive content. And I'm continuing that series with the book of Revelation. And I did find other verses in Second Corinthians, book of Matthews, First John, that talks about the same cataclysmic premonition. It seems like every age has like an impending doomsday. It is true because at the closing of the age, which is 2,500 years, right, for the sign, there has to be a major cataclysm to close the age and then leave a ground zero for the new one to build on. So yes, it does happen, um, but it's the same story. If you look at the Old Testament and the New Testament, it's the same story. The same story. Um, I'll tell you a few things. You know, John the Baptist. Well, like I was telling you when I was discussing Atlantis, that government was witchcraft. Witchcraft was the government, was the order of the day when wizards ruled the land. J.R.R. Tolkien's The Fellowship of the Ring, The Hobbit, comes to mind. And there was two wizards fighting against each other with two kingdoms colliding. Surveyor to protect the Middle Earth and the Shire and the other provinces. But that story, like I said before in my other videos, J.R.R. Tolkien, who's a Virgo like me, and Virgos, we are gatekeepers and we are timekeepers and we are historians of the earth and of humanity. We are the record keepers, the opposite polarity being Pisces, okay, where the storehouse of the records are. No. So understand that uh, Virgos, whether they know it or not, spiritually are being moved to write stories and fables that they think is fiction. There is nothing fiction about Lord of the Rings. There is nothing fiction about the Fellowship of the Ring, the Hobbit. None of that is fiction. None of it. I'm telling you, none of it. Those stories that J.R.R. Tolkien is writing about, he's writing about Atlantis. He's writing about Lemuria. And the orcs and the arts and the different categories, categories and hobbits and all those categories, they did exist. Those were the 16 races of Atlantis. Of course, they put a little fiction, a little imagination to make it look more gory. Maybe it was like that, or worse. We just don't know. It was too far in the millions of years to really know. As far as having records. But and I don't know where J.R.R. Tolkien was Anne Rice, another Virgo, who wrote the Vampire Lestat and those um, trilogies of those novels. They are also telling you a lot of occult stuff in those books, in those movies. That movie, by like I said, like with John Cruise and Brad Pitt, I was almost in shock. I almost fell out of the chair in the movie theater. All the secrets they were revealing. But you know what? The sheep, the audience, it just went right over them, right over them, right over them. So maybe that's a good thing. Not all information should be allowed to be seen so obviously. But going back to the Bible and the same story all over again. For example, John the Baptist. There was no John the Baptist. It wasn't John the Baptist. It was John the high priest or John the sorcerer. The church took that out. And I'm going to tell you something else. too. The act of baptism used to be considered a magical act. It was considered a magical act, a work of magic. The church, again, took that out. Took that out. So yeah, church does a lot of shit. And then the other example that I wanted to give you, um, what was the other example? What was the other example? I did my prayers in front of the altar before I speak, so I have wisdom to speak to you. See, this is one of those things where I wanted to say it, and then they're like, no, 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 and then I, my airy self, I try to like defy them and do it, but I'm sitting right in the throne, right? So they took the memory. Cause it was like, on tip of my tongue. Don't you hate that? Oh my God. And I'm not letting it go either. I'm not letting it go. I'm trying to find out what it was, what was said. Oh my God. Well, let's go back to John the Baptist. John the Baptist was not John the Baptist. He was a sorcerer. And when Jesus came back from the east, he had to be ordained a priest or a messenger because he was away from Europe and away from the European system for a long time. Remember, he left at 16 and came back at 33. So what John the Baptist was doing in that lake was that he was welcoming him back and ordaining him so that he can discuss these teachings that he learned in the East over to the Roman provinces. It was an initiation. We see this also in the Old Testament when Aaron and Moses, remember Moses wasn't Hebrew, he was an Egyptian. So he couldn't fight uh, as an Egyptian. And then he had to then be ordained Jewish, reordained Jewish because he was under Egyptian identity for a long time. When he became the Moses that we know about is when he made a decision to put down the Egyptian identity and go to the Hebrew, which was his true heritage. So when he was ordained, Aaron took took a staff. The staff did not belong to Moses. The staff belonged to Aaron. Aaron went to Jehovah and did a prayer and then gave it to Moses with power. And then Moses did what Moses did that he became famous for. But it was the high priest Aaron which blessed the staff, which belonged to Aaron. And he gave it to Moses as an ordainship to reintroduce him back to the Hebrew way of life. Jesus went away. So he had to come back to Hebrew and be ordained so he can go back into the way of life. We see the same repetition. John the Baptist, Aaron. Jesus, Moses. We see the same service. Think about it, it's there. So what am I saying at the end of the day? Everything is a recapitulation of what happened before. And according to the winner of history, they change it a little bit here, they change it a little bit there to fit the ages and the new rulers. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. No music today. I mean, let me tell you. It's been down. Everything's been down. My laptop, and this demon that I've been fighting that travels through electronics and fucks up the laptop, the phone, the tablet. It miss farmer didn't even believe in that. She didn't believe in it until she started seeing it and experiencing it. And then people, you guys have been hearing noises and ghouling sounds and seeing faces and stuff. Yeah, those are all psychic attacks directed at me by, mighty enemies. But you know what, as a shaman, that comes with the territory. Why do you think I always wear this? And I always wear jewelry. These are defenses. And then, of course, the greatest defense, my throne, which is my God, right? Because you can't do this type of work and not be spiritually protected. Silly. This here, being on the air, is a form of protection from those forces. And of course, my pentacle. And these are things, like it says in the Bible, put the armor of God on, whatever that might be or mean to you. Now, before we jump in, oh yeah, I don't have to. I haven't been smoking weed or drinking in weeks. Weeks. I don't even have liquor in the house. Crazy. Me. Can you believe that? Can you believe that? I even stopped the Melancello and the Campari, and the Aperol. I stopped all of it. All of it. I mean, not because I wanted to. It just kind of left me. There's a gradual change. I have some beer here. Only because I need something for the palate. And of course, I got my water. You know. So, yes, I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be back. I'm being very pawsy because, you know, just relax. And I feel like with you guys, I can relax. I can relax. I can relax because I tell you, you think that not being on the air makes you relax. Uh, I'm more relaxed on the air than I am out of the air because I'm running the school, doing appointments, and running other businesses and blah 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 and running the house. Not to mention maintaining the altar, which is takes it can take time from the day to do that, and it has to be done. Um, 1 second. Yeah, so I'm just here chilling out for a minute. I'm gonna get ready to read the names, see who's here. The only way I'm able to do the videos is by doing it on the phone because mysteriously the laptops and tablets are not working. Doesn't seem to be working for me. Uh, we do it in the other computers of Miss Farmers, and it works. But when it comes to mine, it doesn't work. And she'll get on my computer and do the work, and it'll work for her. My computer. But when I get into it, it doesn't work, and that lets me know that it's directed at me, the negative, the energy, and then I respond accordingly. It's just to me it's inconvenience, because it takes time away, you know, and then you have to work extra harder to make sure that everything runs smoothly. But in this type of work, these things seldom run smoothly. They seldom run smoothly. Okay, let's put this down because I was getting too relaxed. I'm like, all right, all right, all right. I was getting too relaxed. Okay, let me see some of your comments. Let's see, let's see, let's see, let's see. Um, hmm. Okay, let's see. Hey, family, Lydia Monroe. Hey, I gotta do this. It's terrible. I know, it's crazy. I want to take care of these things, right? We're on a retrograde, so that's even like, wow. Lydia Morton, how are you? Gregory J. Sifontes, how are you? Earth Child Celeste, Empress 5, CE, Z La Reina, Divine Lofton. Hi, Divine Lofton. Oh my God, Divine. Thank you for being understanding. You just, it's been chaotic. I had to stop the appointments and postpone them. A lot of chaos happening. But managing them Monday, we should be back on schedule, God willing. Rachel Elizabeth. How are you, Rachel Elizabeth? And High Priestess Akasha. Mama Vente. Very nice, very nice. Ooh, how do you say, I see. How are you, I see? How do you see if someone is a criminal in a birth chart? Oh, there's a couple of signatures. There's a couple of signatures. Mars might be on the ascendant or might be in the 10th house or very close to the MC. Or it might be squaring the north node or the south node. Saturn, it will also be involved, and Mercury. Mercury will be involved as well. And then we have to look at the degrees and the rulership of the houses and see what exactly is the criminality. Because it even tells you the specifics of the criminality too. Okay, let's see some more chat. Hold on. I gotta press this button. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Saying hello. I see. BB Visions, how are you? Good to see you back always. Uh huh. Uh huh. Uh huh. Black Lotus, how are you? Uh huh. Who else we have? Uh huh. Uh huh. Jasmine S. JD1GGS. How are you? The Trojan Prince. How are you? Thank you, the Trojan Prince. Thank you. All right. I guess that's everybody. That's everybody. So now we are going to go into the revelation where we left off because it was going to get complicated and I didn't want to stop right in the middle, right? Because we went over, I think, an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 30 minutes, something like that. So let's see. We did chapter 5, 6, 7, 8. We left on 10. And I believe we were about to read the the candlesticks. Okay, let's take a look over here. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong book. I was looking at Chronicles. Okay, let's go back to the back of the Bible where we find the book of Revelation. Corinthians, Thessalonians, Timothy, Revelation. Let's go. Chapter 10, where they begin reading, I believe, the trumpets. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. We did that already. Right, we stopped at the key of the bottomless pit. That's where we stopped up, which is now chapter 9. The two more trumpets. It says here, chapter 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. Now, you all know what the bottomless pit is, right? The bottomless pit is the black hole. That's the bottomless pit. And a star falling. Again, it has to be something major. I won't say a star. Maybe a planet or a rogue planet or a dying star. Because when we continue reading in the further chapters, there's still humanity on Earth. If this was a natural star, it would be impossible that there be life still left on Earth. Yeah, a star is like our sun. Our sun is a star. So if that's what they're talking about, then it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense because then there should not be any life at all. So we don't believe that it was a star. It may look like a star, but it wasn't a star. And we have to look at the interpretations based on what these people knew at that time. No, people didn't read and write, and people didn't know science. So they had to use whatever language was available in vocabulary to describe what they saw. But that doesn't mean that it was what planets and stars empirically means today. Okay? And that is important to take into account because then this becomes more plausible when you break it down. Okay, it says then here, moving on to, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit. I mean, what are they talking about? A smoke out of the pit? Well, it ain't on earth. There's no bottomless pit on earth. And it would have said so. It would not have been too allegorical. So this cannot be um, anything that's happening on earth at the current moment. No, or at that moment. And smoke came out. Well, this reminds me of the Saturn period when there was nothing but heat. And then from heat came light. Because wherever there's heat, there's fire. And this was, of course, before there was matter. But other types of matter exist, still exist. So this is one of those instances where you have to have further knowledge of prior information that you need to conclude the information that's only in part here. The problem is that that information is not available to the public, only to the clergy, uh, spiritual workers like shamans or researchers like anthropologists, historians, and even they are not going to be interested in these occult subjects. You know? So, the fact that this generation, especially the millennials, are now very interested in this type of knowledge and are very hungry and gung ho has opened doors that we never thought they'd be open because there was such an exclusivity of who can obtain this knowledge. No, uh, I guess the church fell asleep in realizing that sooner or later the sheep has to be educated about the real truth. And even though the church might have thought it acted in its own better judgment by protecting the public from these mysteries, it should have done better at dispensing piecemeal those mysteries to help understand, the world and planet and God we live in. But that's talking idealism, because there's politics and there's the polarity of evil. So it's Shambhala and Agartha. The battle still continues. So that's that. I mean, there's nothing that can be said about that. For those of you who are ready to receive the knowledge, you're in my channel or in the similar channels, or you're getting teachers that are now ready to teach you because you are now ready as a student or to be initiated. So that's part of, um, that's a process. That's a process. Because even to obtain knowledge, as sincere in your heart as you are about obtaining knowledge of true knowledge, terrifying knowledge, um, there's still the question of what are you going to do with it? Like I said before, not all knowledge is to hear and just, have a piece of toast and have a lovely moment, conversation about it. No, these truths vibrate at a higher vibration that requires special handling. Like the ark. The ark required special handling. The Old Testament is full of stories about the ark fucking people up because it was being disrespected and misused. Weapons and shooting shit from it. Damn, like, what the fuck was that? Laser beam, beamed. It's in the Bible. The ark shooting shit. Boom, down. People touched it. Oh, they got sick. They had all kinds of magical shit going on. So yeah, again, it was some kind of device brought over by these beings. Then I'm telling you that, ooh, ooh. But you see, and the Ethiopians know the real deal. And the real Jews, which are not the ones you think are, know the deal. But there's a lot out there that is jealously guarded and kept in the mysteries. But very soon, well, almost now, you can say, things are coming into the surface. Things are coming to the surface, and it seems that the millennials seem more ready and more comfortable than we expected. Because the majority of the people that are grabbing at this knowledge is you, not my generation. They could care less, honestly. You know, because again, it's something that it wasn't meant for me to know it. I'm not gonna ponder it now. That's the attitude. But you guys are hungry for information that I believe you're gonna know how to use. I do believe that. Uh, the bottomless pit and smoke coming out like from a furnace. Let's read that again. Let's read that again. Let's read that again. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. Let's read that again. As the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Well, it could be two things. We caused an explosion here on Earth, which created a big, big hole. I could see that. I could see that. Well, it's happened before. Lemuria sunk, and in her place, Atlantis rose. But when Atlantis was destroyed, the whole continent, don't you think that that was a hole in the earth? It was a hole. In the sense that there was a landmass there taking up space in the globe, Earth, adding weight to the planet. And now it's not there. But in its place, there's an anomaly, the Bermuda Triangle, where there's a portal that opened when Atlantis was destroyed. And to this day, you still can't go to the Bermuda Triangle. Planes still disappear. Ships still disappear. Oh, just because you don't hear about it, you don't think it's happening? Well, planes are not allowed to fly there or through it. You know that. Or ships. It's to this day, there's still something there that is making ships and planes and people disappear without a trace. That is a hole there. That's a portal that was opened, albeit accidentally. But that's a hole. That's a portal. So why not that happen again? Everything happens in cycles. And what did I say earlier? Life is a recapitulation of what went on before. So one thing that comes to mind for me is CERN. CERN, the particle accelerator in Switzerland. They're trying to recreate the Big Bang, like I spoke about in other videos. And it's ludicrous that they would spend billions of dollars on this. But they do. And I don't know what the point is in trying to recreate the Big Bang. I don't know what the point in that is. But I believe something of that magnitude. How can you, they want to create, I guess, a miniature version of what happened at the Big Bang so they can study it and see if they do a miniature version of the Big Bang, it can give them more insight as to what actually took place in specific details mathematically about the Big Bang, the real Big Bang. Wow. But why? What for? It doesn't answer the bigger questions of why they're doing this. But I can easily see that. I can easily see that be the case. I had to turn it, took the thought away again. I believe that something is going to go wrong. Something is going to backfire with CERN. And it will cause an explosion on Earth of the magnitude of maybe 10 Hiroshimas to open a hole of that magnitude. something will occur here that's going to ignite that. The other possibility, also, when they're talking about a great star falling from heaven, that, I mean, this might be far fetched, but it could be the space station. It could be the space station plummeting down to Earth, burning like a star because when it enters our atmosphere, it burns like a meteor or a rocket or a star. So that could be what John the Baptist saw. What do you guys think about that? Let's pause here for a second and let's take a look at some of your answers or questions. Okay. Oops. Uh huh. Uh huh. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna type with CERN. Yep, CERN. Very good. Uh huh. Very good. Yeah, some of you got it. Some of you got it. So it could be CERN. That could be the problem right there. The space station. If something is going to hit the moon, which will cause one third obscurity, one third sun, one third night. If something is going to hit the moon, you don't think that space station is going to come down, crashing down along with it? The gravitational waves in space, in something like that magnitude, will make the fabric of space-time wiggle, move. They'll fall out of there so fast. Doesn't it make sense? Mm. Uh-huh. Yes. Yes. Yep, we're going there. Get your pen. So this part, I'm still in prayer and in meditation to, you know, get the message as to what it might actually mean. We go into the other verse, and it was number 4, verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses, prepared unto battle. Now this is another like, damn, what is this? Now I'm thinking CERN, right? And explosion. Okay, and the smoke comes out. And locusts, well, maybe it appeared like locusts, but it might have been flies. I can go with that. But now they're saying that the locusts look like horses and have breastplates, like they're demonoids or they're like gorgons or arcs or gorgons. Like it doesn't make sense. unless he's speaking about something else that we haven't seen and we haven't experienced. Number five. Okay. No, let's go to number seven. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses, prepared unto battle. And on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. These might be aliens. This might be an alien invasion. Think about it. They cannot hurt anything green. They cannot hurt any tree, any animal, and only those who have the symbol on their forehead are to be spared. The rest are to be almost like treated like slaves, tormented for 5 months. Is this like a slave labor? Uh, and they're taking them and casting them into prisons. It's like something is invading and taking over. Think about it. Like, what do you guys got to say about that? Isn't the boundless pit Antarctica? No. The edge of the sidewalk. And aging money. You're like an alien, long alien. Yeah, what? You guys tell I mean, I wish you guys were reading it with me. What do you think? Why not? It might be a possibility. I mean, what locust do you know looks like a horse? It has a breastplate of armor. It has a crown on his head. It has a face that looks like men. What is that? What are they describing? Wow. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. It sounds like mutations. No. And they have breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron. And the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. This is an invasion. Wings, blah, blah, those are the ships making those sounds. I had a few people tell me that they've had dreams of extraterrestrials coming here and shooting at us and invading. I've had several people tell me that. And I've had those dreams myself. It's here. Oops. Sorry. It's here. And the book of Revelation is not the only book where you find these things, these mysteries. But yeah, and of course, the church won't talk about it. The church won't talk about it. Nobody in the clergy talks about it. Not even at the Vatican. And what people got to say here? Whoop. 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 You know, you already know what it is. Okay. Yeah, yeah, How do we get ready? How do we get ready? Well, well, first of all, according to the text, right? It says that there will be those that are going to be chosen, and then those that are not going to be chosen. The ones that are going to be chosen are going to have a seal on their forehead, while the rest are going to be up for grabs. So there is no preparing. Uh, you just have to know if you've lived a righteous life, a good life, and a good life, meaning a life where you didn't do any crime, you didn't hurt anybody, and you should be okay. I don't think that this punishment is going to happen to people like us. I think it'll happen to those who have been corrupting the planet and everything in it for millennia. Uh, for these and their descendants is what these beings are coming here to do. But it's very clear in the Bible here what that is telling you that these are like a chariot going for battle. Now, this is an army of a new race of beings that are here that rose out of nowhere. And if a great star fell from heaven and he was given the key to the bottomless pit, then that means that that star that they're talking about is not a star, but a spaceship burning through the atmosphere coming in. People, John thought it was a star. I mean, there are many ways to look at it. Many ways to look at it. Uh, with the occult information that's not here, there are many ways that we can look at these verses and compare it to what's in the occult vault. Now, in the occult vault, it does talk of invasion of other beings from other planets. And like I mentioned in other videos, this has happened before. India published the Upanishads. The Upanishads of India talk about aerial battles and intergalactic battle that took place, and the earth was the battlefield. We know in Sumer, the Anunnaki descended, right? In the book of Daniel, it talks about some kind of spaceship coming down, a mothership, and then another ship comes down from underneath it and opens into fours and lands and burning, and the ground shakes. That's another extraterrestrial invasion or introduction. The Anunnaki was another extraterrestrial invasion or visit. Again, recapitulation. Nothing is new under the sun. All has been here before. All has happened before. This is just another cloak of what went on before. And if you look at it like that, you demystify it a little and see it for what it is. These are cycles of changes that don't change, just the players and the color. That's it. We're gonna stop here because I know it's late, and I'm gonna let you chew on that, and then I'm gonna give you up to 10 parts and finish it because I want to give you the parts that are very, very important. And the book of Matthew, book of John, Corinthians, and one of the churches of the letters. Well, Corinthians is one of them. And the book of Revelation, because I think it speaks on things that are currently happening now. The cycle that occurred in these stories in times past is recapitulating itself now. Not the whole thing, but parts of it. So it makes sense when there is talk of apocalyptic or global takeover. These things have happened before, and they will happen again until the Jupiter period, when all ends. All right, guys, we did 54 minutes. We did good. Guys, if you want a birth chart, call 347-485-6258 and put your bid in, and you'll get a birth chart or a reading, which is the tarot reading. I haven't done those in a while. And let's see. And then the school, well, we're beginning February and new semester, right? So hopefully, if you guys are interested, you guys can register or pre-register. I do sell occult courses on the People's Astrologer on the New School of Alexandria. You don't have to be an astrology student to have those courses. You can buy those courses. They're $100, and they're occult courses. They are secret stuff, stuff that I can't talk about on YouTube, not even on Patreon. So there's that. What else? I'm doing a couple of things, a couple of changes. I'm gonna begin a newsletter. I used to do newsletters when I ran the theater company. I'm going to do it again monthly. I'm going to do a monthly YouTube newsletter from the People's Astrologer. Keeping you guys also up to breath and up to date. And also it's showing you guidance as to where you can get research and where you can find similar information. Or what organizations you can join for free where you can get access to this information also in a more watered down version for the public. So that's something that I want to prepare for you. Very good, very good, very good. Guys, thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.